Hi artists! Today we're going to create a quick landscape drawing of a view in San Francisco. This is a view of Baker Beach. So we're going to create a little oceanscape with the Golden Gate Bridge. So the first thing you need is a pencil and your sketchbook. And the first step is you're going to create a rectangle outline in your sketchbook. So this is kind of the frame for your landscape. And you can use a ruler if you like, but you can also just do it freehand. Okay, so the first step in drawing a landscape is we're going to draw the horizon line. And this is the line where all objects disappear from view. So try to do it without a ruler. And for this landscape, it's a little below halfway through the rectangle. And we're going to label it so you remember what this line is called. So I want you to draw it pretty lightly because eventually you might not see a horizon line, but it's always there if you can see it or not. All right, next step is we're going to draw the mountains in the background. So there's some coastal hills back here. So just draw kind of a jagged line and then some more mountains coming up here. Again, draw pretty lightly because eventually we will fill all this in and you don't want it to be too dark. And then we have another kind of like a bluff on the right hand side, so drawing that in, coming down, and you can draw a horizontal line here. And then there's some other like big rocks and boulders in the foreground, which is the area closest to us. Okay, and then we have the line where the water meets the beach. So just drawing a jagged line across your paper. That's where the waves are hitting the shore right here. All right, next I'm gonna draw the line for the bridge. So it kind of goes across from the bluff on the right side to the background. And it's not completely straight, it's a little bit curved, okay? And then there's two pillars on the bridge, so they're concrete pillars. We're just gonna draw like sort of a rectangle shape. There's one pillar, and the other is a little more hidden, okay? Then we're gonna draw the bridge, I don't know what you call this, the beams of the bridge, which are very iconic. Everyone knows what they are when they see them all over the world. So just draw two vertical lines that are parallel. So parallel means that they are exactly the same distance apart. And you're gonna create like a very wide U shape and a few different beams across the bridge. And then we have a straight line and an X, a couple X's. Okay, and then we're gonna draw the back of the second pillars here. So they are further away, so they appear to be smaller, even though they're the same size in real life. They appear to be smaller. So we're gonna make it a little smaller than the first one. Two parallel lines, beam, beam, beam. All right. And we're gonna draw the lines where the bridge has these suspension cables, which are really important to keep the bridge up. So it's pretty important that we draw those in as well. So those those are kind of tricky to get the angles right. They come down about to where these two pillars are. And then they go from the top of this first beam down. And there's one more back here. All right, so we've done the hardest part, which is drawing the bridge. Now we're going to add some value into our landscape so that it looks a little more realistic with shadows. So let's do a quick value scale at the bottom of our paper to see how dark and how light we can get with our values. So draw a very long rectangle, split it up into 5 squares, and then press as hard as you can on the left. This is the darkest value that we'll get with these pencils, okay? And then press as light as you can. Use the side of your pencil, which will make it shade more fluidly, if you see here, versus using the tip. It's gonna be a little harder to control. All right, and then press harder, but not as hard as the first time. Medium pressure, lighter, lighter, lighter. So this is as light as we can really get, and this is as dark as we can really get, okay? So dark, medium, and light values. You don't need to write that, I just want you to understand those 3 words, okay? So let's draw a very dark value in the mountains in the background. Try to match the value that you used for the outline, which is this line. You don't want it lighter than the outline. So you want the same color as the outline, same value. And this one's a little lighter because it is farther away. And when objects get further away, they appear to be lighter, even though they're the same value that the one in the foreground might be. They appear to be lighter, okay? I'm also going to add a few lines that give the illusion of a mountain. So like this might be behind this mountain, and it helps to have a little shading to give some depth and some idea of 3-dimensionality. Okay, so now I'm going to add a few more details on my bridge. There's a little arch here and some lines, and then this is pretty dark value underneath because it's a shadow. And then there's some lines between the cables as well, so that'll help these little details kind of make your artwork stand out. And you can add some like the start of a letter A onto the bridge. So now we have like a pretty detailed little sketch here. Okay, so this bluff we're going to shade kind of medium pressure, but match the outline so it doesn't look strange. So if you don't match the outline, it'll look kind of like this, where it looks a little bit more childish, and we want it to look more professional. So you're going to try to match the same value as the outline of the rock, okay? Okay, and then we're going to shade these rocks. And I'm going to add a few rocks in the water so that will make it look more like a jagged coastline with rocks along it. And that's what Baker Beach looks like in San Francisco. It's very rocky at the end of the beach. And then I'm going to press really hard on some of these rocks to give some shadow, and really hard on some of these rocks to give some shadow. Okay, and then the beach is a light value, but it is not white, so let's go ahead and shade the whole beach and leave a little line here along the coast, because the waves, when they touch the shore, you know, they're very like white and frothy. So we're gonna leave a little bit of white right here along the shoreline. You can use your finger to smudge the water because it's pretty smooth value in the photo. And maybe some water is darker than others. That's kind of, water ripples have some dark and some light. And you can also use your eraser to bring out some highlights, like these waves along the coast. I want them to look really light. And then this line, I'll define it a little more. And match that value right here by shading. All right, last step is I'm going to add a few clouds, and the clouds are going to be kind of jagged, and they come up into the sky. They get bigger as they get closer to you. And that's it. We have our little San Francisco Baker Beach landscape. It's partially nature and partially urban because we have the bridge. Hope you enjoyed.